called Douglas Hodge, who you won't perhaps know his face, but his name, but you know his face. He married lovely jubbly Rodney, you plonker, Raquel.
Oh,
Do you remember Raquel?
Yes.
Lovely jubblies. Well, Raquel is married to Doug. Yeah, they're not together now, but they were for many years. And Doug was in my first plays that I did. He became a great actor. Oh, the Olivier Award, yes, I got a nomination. I didn't actually win. He had to do that face where you go, I'm really pleased for everybody else. I've done Emmerdale.
Yeah.
And I was a dodgy geezer in an anti-piracy advert for years on the front of every video. Got a receipt, mate, 4 weddings, not worth the paper, it's printing a little cockney geezer. I wouldn't mind a little EastEnders. And it turned out that I had got 36 bits of cancer in my prostate here.
Wow.
But luckily, I met a lovely doctor, John Beattie. I'll say his name because he saved my life. And he was from Leicester, and I'd been in the original Adrian Mole. So I gave him my scripts with Sue Townsend's autograph because it was the most precious thing I could give to someone like that.
Now, there's no business quite like show business. And have I got an absolute cracker for you today? It's a man who is an actor, a comedian, a performer, the list goes on. And I'd love to tell you all of the things he's been in, but that would be probably bigger than my Christmas food bill. Honestly, what a man, a true character. And it's my absolute pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Anthony Howe. Anthony!
Hey, that's not business, like show business. Thank you, Emily. Lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
I can say that I have had a lot of people in the studio, but I think you must be the most brightest.
Hey, showbiz. Yes, I like
the
this.
most fun of all.
I'll dress down for Panto, that's what they say.
I
How's the day?
know. I'm thinking that I might need to sort of steal that coat.
Do you like this
from-
coat?
Yeah,
It's
I
lovely.
do.
I was in Panto in Exeter, playing the Dame. Hello, my lovers. I've a bra like Exeter City. All support, no cups. and then I went outside, and outside the cathedral, this girl was selling these coats. £120. I got it for cash for 100.
Well,
love it.
It's a steal, isn't it?
It is a steal. I've never taken it off since.
As we were seeing the fashion.
I'm loving it.
It's a steal.
It's a steal.
It's a steal.
Tommy Steele, that's it.
Now then, I think you just do need to name drop some of the shows you've been in, because I'm sure people are sat there thinking, I know his face.
Yeah.
I've seen him somewhere.
Yeah.
And I would imagine you have been in so many things. Just mention some of the
I've
programmes
been in
people know.
Emmerdale. I was Neville in Emmerdale for a bit. Then I was in Doctors, playing this Birmingham plumber. Midsummer Murders, I'm a milkman. Pasteurised milk. And that was with John Nettles. And then I was in Casualty. The Bill, obviously not anymore. The Bill's finished now. I was on kids' television with a guy called David Copperfield, Three of a Kind.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
I did Lift Off with him, did 3 series of that. Anton Deck Lake, I worked with Anton Deck Lake a few times in the show with Zig and Zag, the Irish puppets. I did that.
remember them. They always called him
Live.
Mischief.
That's the one. So I've done Hangar 17, which was a Geordie blog thing, and I did a comedy spot on that. Look at that spider with the big head, you know, silly stuff for kids. Brum Brum, an engineer for children's television. And then I sort of went into the Disney Club, playing a chicken for a few years with Darren Day and Paul Hendy and a few others, which was rather fun. So I've ticked on as a comedy actor.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of theatre first. I played The Artful Dodger when I was 12.
I mean, let's just talk about something else as well.
Yeah, come on.
Olivier.
Oh, the Olivier Award, yes. I got a nomination. I didn't actually win. He had to do that face where you go, I'm really pleased for everybody else. That was with Mickey Rooney. I think Mickey Rooney won it that year.
But the thing is, that's a big thing,
It was a big thing. I was with Bernard Cribbins in Lady Be Good at the Regent's Park Theatre in London. Do you know the Regent's Park? It's an open-air theatre.
It's a beautiful one.
Yeah. And a fascinating rhythm got me, and I was tap dancing and singing. So I played a chicken in that at the end. I'm a little jazz bird, playing birds a lot. So that was rather fun. So I've been very lucky. I've got to say, with this profession, you need a bit of luck, as you were saying.
Yeah.
As an actor, you need the luck as well, but you ride the luck. I moved to London. I joined the National Youth Theatre. I was there with Daniel Craig. He's struggling. 007. Colin Firth understudied me when I was playing Puck. How now, Spirit? With a wonder you. So I had Colin Firth as my understudy. So that he was only young then. And then Hugh Bonneville's a great friend. I'm going to see in Shadowlands next week in the West End. So I've got some great mates that are famous, but I've got a lot of famous actors that are just names, like Con O'Neill, that turn up in things and you'd know their faces.
Yes.
And that's like me. I'm a jobbing actor. I'm in an advert at the moment for EE. I'm the clown in the EE adverts, looking really sad and juggling.
But the thing is, Tony, is that you say that it's luck, but you've got a talent.
Oh, yeah, you need to have the talent as well.
And what I want to talk about here is that, you know, how did you get into this? Did you always say, as a child, want to be an actor? Was it in your blood?
Yeah.
Or did you want to do something else?
Well, it's what you said earlier, that you said about being in the church. I was in the church choir. You ever do make Alan Jones
Snap.
bits? Snap. I was in the church choir, and that's a lovely way to learn to sing. You do all the blue and the red medals to the Church of England I was in.
Yes, same.
And I sat in the choir with all my friends and loved it. And one of the ladies, it was very frightful. Oh, darling, we're doing a production of Oliver. So I auditioned, played the Artful Dodger. In the audience that night, did I know, because it was the Church of England Society, was Joyce Grenfell. Remember her?
I do,
Anyone
yes.
pretend this very posh, all this, don't do that, George. And she wrote me a letter at the interval saying, you're a duck to water. She said, you don't only pick pockets, you steal scenes.
Oh.
Showbiz. I was only 12. I mean, that meant the world to me. I'd seen her on television. And years later, I moved on to work with George Cole, who was also in those films. You know, Minder, George. And I did Sexton's Tales with him on Radio 4 and told him years later I became an actor because of Joyce Grenfell.
Wow.
So I went to the National Youth Theatre. I auditioned, went to Birmingham. I had to do a speech from King John. Each substance of a grief have 20 shadows. Shows like grief itself, but is not so. For sorrow's eye glazed with blinding tears. And did all this, you see. Got through. Michael Croft, who was then the National Youth Theatre director, asked me back and said, I know you're a bit young, but in Coriolanus, would you play the young Caius Marcius at the Shaw Theatre in the West End? Years later, I thought, well, do I become a vicar, like I said to you? And I prayed to God. And at the time, I was seeing this Irish girl called Lynn. And her parents said, all right, Tony, you can stay the night, but you have to sleep in the garage. So I slept in the garage on an oil stain. And then I woke up and the fridge door opened. It was either, I thought, is it an angel or is it the fridge door? And this yellow light came to me. I said, God, do I become a vicar or an actor? He said, wouldn't you become an actor? Go to London. Knocked on the door of Michael's again. Oh, Tony, my dear boy, what are you doing here? I said, well, God sent me. Well, it's a lovely reference, Tony. God, yes, good reference. I said, God said I should become an actor. He said, well, let me audition you. And he gave me a part in Pygmalion with Paula Wilcox and Man About the House. And that's how I got my equity card. If you know about equity cards.
Yes, I do, yes.
So that started it all off.
Wow.
So that's where
So you nearly became a vicar then?
I nearly became a vicar. Hello there, lovely, yes. No, not in the end. You know what I mean? That's the old Catholic one.
But I would have imagined actually you'd have made a really good vicar because
think,
you've got a lovely way with people.
I do love people.
And the thing is that, you know, you can't go do that type of job without having empathy and compassion for people.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I can see that shining through in you.
Oh, bless you, sweetheart. I do love people. I've been in Grimsby only a night. I sort of know half the people. They're so friendly in Grimsby. You know, I've just been at Cleethorpes.
We do our best.
Lovely people, yeah.
But I mean, you have covered so much in your career.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the acting, and then you've got like live theatre. You've got comedy. Yeah. Which do you think gives you the greatest buzz?
Well, I think I worked with Bobby Paul, the late Bobby. Rock on, Tommy.
Rock on, Tommy.
Stop doing the Shakespeare, do gags, mate, you know. And I said, I've got a film coming out soon. One man and his dog, I'm playing the lead. You know, I did those sort of gags, you know. I'm really upset. The wife's run off with the next door neighbour. God, I'll miss him. You know, silly jokes that I've always liked that are not hurting anyone.
Yes.
I don't want to do anything to hurt anybody. I don't like anything racist or homophobic. You know, I love all the gags. I'm not gay, my boyfriend is. You know, I can crack a joke. I work with John Inman a lot. Remember?
Oh,
yes.
Are you being served?
Are you being served? I'm free. And he became a great friend.
Yeah.
And lovely humour.
But don't you think that that's actually really important? Because, like, I always think of the greats, like, you know, Bob Monkhouse.
Brilliant.
He could do really good comedy without it being smutty, lewd, personal.
He wasn't.
It was clever. That's an art.
I said to my dad, I'm going to be a comedian. He said, they're not laughing now. Do you remember? That's what he said. That was one of Bob's.
Yeah.
Bob's very sincere.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Paul Hendy, has just written a play in the West End with Eric Morecambe, with Tommy Cooper, just like that. I'm on a whiskey diet. I lost 3 days already. All that, you know. And so he's written that and he puts them in a dressing room together. Paul wrote it. And I was on the kids' television with Paul Hendy years ago. That's how he started. And he's gone on to write a lot of pantomimes. But he's a great friend. But what I'm saying is, people like Bob Monkhouse, that, when we were young, you know,
They were
in our
good.
50,
They were
yeah,
a class
55
act.
plus fats, they were all good. Eric Morecambe, all that stuff. We loved it, didn't we? So Freddie Starr, he had his problems, but as a comedian was genius. I met Freddie Starr a few times.
So comedy gives you the buzz then, do you
I think it does. I mean, I
Yeah.
did classical theatre as well. I trained at Bristol Old Vic Theatre School.
I was just about to say,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, this is what I'm saying, is that you can have all the luck in the world, but if you've not got the talent, really,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
was-
bit, you know, and so you've sort of worked at your craft.
Yeah, I have actually. What happened was, I'd done Richard II on tour. I went to Broadway, the play called Good Lads at Heart, with an actor called Douglas Hodge, who you won't perhaps know his face, but his name, but you know his
Yeah.
face. He married lovely jubbly Rodney, you plonker, Raquel.
Oh,
Do you remember
yeah.
Raquel,
Yes.
lovely jubblies? Well, Raquel is married to Doug.
him,
Yeah, they're not together now, but they were for many years. And Doug was in my first plays that I did. He became a great actor, but he's more classical.
Yeah.
He stayed that way. I fell into light entertainment when I was doing the children's television and started to enjoy, singing in the rain. I got to sing the rain with Tommy Steele, tap dancing, fit as a fiddle, ready for love. And I just loved it. I loved being on stage. It was all very camp in the wings and lovely people. You're never miserable when you're doing a musical because it's just like,
Or joy.
just joy. Well, you go and do a serious play.
Yeah.
I did the Normal Hearts.
I can imagine you feel a bit drained.
You
when
do. I was in Harrogate, middle of nowhere, love, you know, standing in a digs with a broken window. And I was living on butterscotch instant whip with a lovely
I remember
landlady.
that.
I remember that. Yeah, bananas to keep me going. And the window was broken. And we did this play called The Normal Heart, which was a play about, Larry Kramer play about AIDS at the time. And so it was a bit heavy.
Very depressing, that one.
So
I
I
imagine.
played this American guy like that. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. And I sounded like Muskie because all I could do was find this Deadly Dog video with a Southern American accent in Yorkshire, love, you know. So I went and practiced that. So that was fun, but it wasn't for me.
No.
I sat with all these intense actors going, oh, that's really fine. I still do a lot of that, but I still prefer... I'm doing the Rat Pack at the moment. I'm touring the Rat Pack with a guy called David Alacy, and that's really fun. So he's good laugh. So you go on stage and you sing, "It Had to Be You," whatever it is, you know, when we're singing.
I mean, you must also have had so many surreal moments, like
Yeah.
moments where you just had to pinch yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
The Crown.
Yeah, I did The Crown as well. That was nice. That was through my agent. I'm with a lovely agent, Michelle Blair. She got me that, to be honest. I probably wouldn't have got my step in the door without getting that. But that was really nice. And then I did a thing called Sex Education with Netflix as well, where I played a tap dancing teacher. Dance like nobody's watching, you know, with all these young kids. And they let us go for it one day on the camera, and I just jumped and danced with these 20-year-olds, and they were lifting me up and throwing me. It was great. So I've had such a mixture. I've got to say, every time, like even coming today, I'm excited. I get excited with the camera, the showbiz. I love it. The lights come on. I still love it. And when I stop loving it, I'll give it up. But I can't give it up, I don't think. I open the fridge door, I do 20 minutes.
I think actually what it does is it gives you a zest for life. And I can imagine, like, I think it gives us longevity. When you enjoy what you do.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you, you put all your energy in it.
Yes.
But you go home at the end of the day and you think, that was a real good day.
It was, yeah.
You must have had some real good days.
Oh, yeah, I do. I get excited, like, oh, I'm filming this tomorrow. You know, I'm meeting you, you know. And, well, that's nice. And Kev, all right, Tony, do you get you down there, mate, my wee Kevin?
See, now you're getting away with it. If I start speaking to him in Scottish, he tells me off.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, you've been a naughty wee girl.
Aye, no, Miss Brodie. Creme de la creme, Miss Brodie.
See, you're rubbing off on me already, Tony.
Yes,
I'm
thank you.
already
Yeah.
going off track and being very naughty.
Yeah, go on.
But, you've also done some real challenging stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
like a one-man show. I mean, there's nothing to hide there, is it?
No.
It's you, it's the cameras, it's the audience. And that is very vulnerable.
That's what I enjoy, because you live by the sword and, as Shakespeare says, to thy own self be true.
Yeah.
That's true. Shakespeare we use every day. And what I wanted to do, because I came from a, lower class council estate, and I thought, I want to get out of here, mate, and become a bit more middle class, just to better myself. Not in any snobbish way, but...
No.
I've never forgotten my roots. I've
No.
never changed. I'm a show-off, but I'm not big-headed. Never have been.
Yeah.
My brother's a postman, better than walking the streets. Sister's a concrete mixer driver, set in her ways. Don't know if she came to the manager. She did a degree in concrete. So we're all down to earth, and they've never let me get above my station.
No.
But with Shakespeare, to me, if you went to a comprehensive school, I then got a scholarship to a private school, so I've lived in both. Hello,
Yeah.
I'm Tarquin. Loves me too. It's amazing. It's so amazing. Yeah, it's great. And then I was with these sort of comprehensive, all right, son, how's it going? Lovely jobs types. And so I've had a nice mixture of children. I think that's given me a nice outlook on life, because I've worked with Colin Firth, and I've also worked with Danny Dyer and Ray Winston.
I was going to
what
say,
I mean?
Colin Firth, be still my beating heart, even though my husband is sat over there.
Oh, Colin, yeah. He was a charmer when he was young. Yeah, he had a broken tooth when he was young. If
I
you
don't
look
care.
carefully. Yeah.
It makes no difference to me.
There's a lovely... I was doing Midsummer Night's Dream. Colin was in it. And there was a girl in it, Jane Corbett, who was like this Geordie lass that I know. And I bumped into her not so long ago. She played the fairy in it. And Adam Swift was playing Snug the Joiner. And it's quite a funny part. And I come on going, my mistress with a monster is in love, near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour. Her crew of patches, room mechanicals that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play, intended for the great Theseus nuptial day. So I do this speech. And in the dressing room, this girl, Jane, left a message, would you take me to the cinema? For Adam. But Colin, being Colin, picked it up, thinking it was him, and he met her outside the cinema and took her to the cinema, and she was so disappointed. It was my friend Adam Swift, whose father is in Keeping Up Appearances.
Yep.
Richard? That's his father, Clive Swift.
Clive Swift, yeah.
And I rang him about a year ago, this is typical man, and I said, look, Adam, that was meant for you. He said, really? I didn't realise. But he's happily married now anyway, so it's fine. But he was, Jane wanted to take him out, not Colin Firth. But he went, oh, I'm sexier than Colin then. So, and he's the Don at Oxford now, Adam. So It's amazing how your life
just changes and just alters.
But I've got great friends from the National Youth Theatre.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was there in the 80s, late 80s, and they're still great friends. And some of them famous, not so famous. Chris Bryant's an MP. I've just been in his book. He's the MP for Labour. Although, let's not boast about that at the moment with Mr. Starmer. But I'm an old socialist. Now I'm a champagne socialist. But I'm doing a thing for the Labour Party this week. But that's because the march up in London. So I'm always trying to keep my finger in different pies. And I teach in prisons as well to give young offenders a different outlook on life. Yeah,
and that's
educate them and teach reading and writing.
That's a good thing.
That's a voluntary thing I do at Aylesbury Young Offenders, which is,
But that's the thing, is using all the skills and the talents you've got to maybe give somebody a chance in life that they don't have.
Yeah.
The thing
and they're
is,
told that that's what they should be. That path isn't necessarily their path.
People always look at me and they think, oh, she must have been brought up with a silver spoon in her mouth. Couldn't be further from the truth. No. And I think sometimes when you've got a bit of grit, that's where it comes from. Well, you
bettered yourself and
that's what you've got to do.
But you worked hard. And it's the same for everyone.
When you work in these young offenders institutes and things, then this is where you can give them, look, your life doesn't have to be like that.
Well, actually, you learn a lot from... There was this lovely guy that I was teaching called Junior, this young Caribbean lad. And I said, you're such a lovely what you're doing. He said, well, brother, I'm a shooter, innit? I'm a shooter. So what do you mean a shooter? He said, well, I was in Barclays Bank and I dressed up as my sister. I thought I'd dress up as a woman. That way I'm not going to get caught. So he's got a dress on from Primark, a dress on, stilettos, goes in there, asks for some money. They give him the money, pops it down his drawers, goes running out, and that's a citizen's arrest from a Polish window cleaner, and he gets 10 years. He said, but the sad thing about it was, he said, look, Tawny, this is what they said in the newspaper. And on the front of the Sun, it said, great tranny robber. great tranny robber, not train robber. So, you meet people like that who have got a bit of fun, and hopefully you can change them. So you don't need to do that. If you have this energy, put it into working in a bank yourself.
You do something different with your life.
I found that interesting. It's been interesting.
Now, there's lots of different TV shows on the TV, on all these different channels. If you could choose to be on any one of them at the minute, what would you think? I'd love a go in that.
Yeah, actually, I would. Well, I've done Emmerdale.
Yeah.
And I was a dodgy geezer in an anti-piracy advert for years. On the front of every video, got a receipt, mate, 4 weddings, not worth the paper, it's printing a little cockney geezer. I wouldn't mind a little EastEnders.
You'd like a bit of EastEnders.
I've got Paul
you'd be
Bradley,
good at that.
in Nigel. You know Nigel, who's in it this week. Paul Bradley. I've worked with him on the radio in Toad. I played Toad and he was my mole. He's a lovely chap. Something like that for a little while, playing a London geezer.
Yeah, you could be almost like he could have a long lost brother or something.
Like Shane Rich's mate, Mooney's brother.
EastEnders, come on.
Come on, EastEnders, give me a chance. I'd love to do that, to be honest.
But alongside your very well-established acting career, and you've got all the fun, all the frivolity, but there has also been some very dark moments.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And one of those, and you've never been afraid to sort of speak it out, and that's your own health scare.
Yeah.
Just tell people what you went through.
Well, I try and do a bit of comedy as well, just to make
what
it fun.
What a surprise.
So I went to the doctor and he said, I'm awfully sorry, Tony. I said, I think you may have a form of cancer. We need to check your bottom. So he put one of those blue gloves on, you're getting Greg's, when they take the sausage rolls out with.
Yeah.
He said, bend over. He said, this could cause an erection. I said, what, yours or mine? So he checked me out. He left the room and the nurse went, who was that bloke? I'm joking away. But sadly, I then had to go and have another test.
Yeah.
And it turned out that I had got 36 pieces of cancer in my prostate here.
Wow.
But luckily, I met a lovely doctor, John Beattie. I'll say his name because he saved my life. And he was from Leicester, and I'd been in the original Adrian Mole. So I gave him my script with Sue Townsend's autograph because it was the most precious thing I could give to someone like that. And I went into me tap shoes. I was in a little pair of plastic knickers and tap shoes. I thought, do you have to sign this form if you do die? I thought, at least
you're going to be glam, aren't you?
Exactly, glamorous. And then all the nurses were giggling. As you can, the NHS, as we all know, they come top. And when you get that level, he said, Tony, we don't live forever. I said, oh, please. So he did the operation. And what I'm saying to men out there, because a lot of men are nervous because it can cause problems after with their sex lives. But, you're alive and you can get your sex life back. You can. It's not quite the same, but what's most important is that you're alive.
Yeah.
And, men are dying in their 40s and 50s because they're frightened of not being able to get excited in sexual positions and then giving up their lives. I mean, how silly is that? So I recommend you have these blood tests that you're going to talk about, the PSA.
Yeah.
Have a PSA test and sometimes you've got an enlarged prostate. Most men have that, which they can just shave off like a little pear tree and you're all sorted again. But I do recommend that everybody does this in a serious note because you can actually die. And, a lot of people are dying of prostate cancer. And it's not the case. It's a bit like breast cancer. The quicker you have a mammogram, is it called?
And I think it's really important. So if anybody at home watching this is concerned, I would suggest that you do not just wait for the NHS, wait for your GP to offer you one of these tests. I would say that, you need to get one of these blood tests. And I just want you to watch a real quick clip now. It could save your life or it could save another one of your family's life. When something doesn't feel quite right with your health, the waiting can often be the hardest part. You're waiting for appointments, you're waiting for tests, and you are waiting for answers. Well, Self was created to help change all that. They offer simple at-home blood tests like the ones I have here, which this one can detect prostate cancer and this one bowel cancer. But there are so many more tests that they offer, meaning that you get trusted health insights without the long delays. And the best bit, all from the comfort of your own home. And the tests, by the way, are straightforward to do. And once your sample is sent off, results come back quickly with a report explaining all what it means. And what makes Self different is that it's family run and doctor led. So the focus is always on you, the people first. You're not just another number in the system. You are treated like a human being who deserves clear answers and real support. Oh, and if you ever need help along the way, there's a real team there to guide you. Getting answers sooner can make all the difference. Having anxiety of the waiting tests and waiting appointments is a real thing. So skip the wait and look after yourself with Self. It is a serious subject.
It is.
But how have you navigated your way through it now, apart from with laughter and fun?
I do think that has been the case, and you do appreciate your friends. It's a bit of a wake-up call when you think you're laying there saying the Lord's Prayer,
Yeah.
because you're in the church. All of a sudden you turn quicker to your... My mother's sadly passed, and my father's passed, so hadn't gotten them with me either. So I've got brothers and sisters who love me, and nieces and nephews who love me, and friends.
I'm sure there's lots of people who love you, Tony.
I'm very well loved. And so I don't feel not loved. But what happened was I sat there again, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, forgive those that trespass, blah, 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 amen." I kept saying it over and over again, praying that God would look after me. John kindly took the prostate out. I had to wear a catheter for 6 weeks. They say it's a recovery in 3 months. I'd say it's about a year, if I'm honest. It takes about a year. But there's only a year out of your life. You can walk, you can dance. I tap dance. I finished up back in PANTO. Oh, it's behind me like my career. And I was in PANTO. And it was during COVID that I got this. So I had a little paddling pool. So if I needed a little, I'd tiddle in there and then jump on stage and then just do the gags again. And it was great. It was a good recovery for me because I was on my own. Yeah. Because of the COVID, you couldn't get near it. We had the masks on. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
I was like, nurse, are my testicles black? Sorry? Are my test results back? That one. So, that was my COVID joke at the time, and all the nurses giggled. So I'd sit in the hospital, enjoy myself, and try and bring out a bit of I think laughter. I'm very lucky that my mother and father came with a love of comedy. I think if I can always laugh at myself.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. You don't take yourself too seriously.
Well, I've got a brother called Ian, who's lovely, my brother. He's very different from me. I mean, he wouldn't, chalk and cheese.
No, he's not going to steal your wardrobe then.
Well, he'd never wear this in a million years. I mean, he's got great humour, but when my father died, I did a speech at the church, and I wanted to make an impression, and I talked about first of all, my mum had bought these tights from Pound Stretchers. You know Pound Stretchers?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And Pound Stretchers are going to join up with Marks and Spencer's because of the recession. They're going to be called Stretch Marks. So anyway, my mum bought these tights. She had a middle one like that, put a ball in it. We had a game of handball. That's how fun was my mother. Do you know what I mean? She came up, we had a good laugh. Children. So my brother's at this funeral. I do a speech from Richard II, perspectives, which rightly gazed upon show nothing but confusion. I distinguished forms, so your sweet majesty, looking right upon our father's departure, weep not, for more is not seen. For it is with the full sorrow's eye, weeps things imaginary. Come off stage, as it were, on the church, and he's sitting in the hearse with a fag. He's got a roll up. I said, did I do well? Was it impressive? Was it... Bit long, bit bloody long, be honest. I was thinking if I had a Phillips screwdriver, I was going to get in the coffin with him.
No.
That's my brother. So we're dry humour.
Dry humour.
Yeah, but my brother I love dearly, as I do my sister. She's gorgeous, my sister. And she's quite, we can be quite bitchy making out together. We get on well together in a fun way.
It's banter.
It's banter. So we have a laugh, me and my sister. She'll like, what are you wearing that for? You look like you just got out of bed. What you do in your dressing gown, that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I opened the door of my dressing gown. I didn't know I had a door in my dressing gown, but I opened it anyway. Those sort of jokes.
But that humour has obviously, it's got you through. It's got other people who are in the hospital, no doubt, through.
Yeah,
the joy, the light.
And like you said, you believe in God. Yeah. I don't go too much on that because it's a personal thing. I don't push it to people. But I do believe that God's in my life. And I do believe that, when God said, go to London, become an actor,
there was reasons for it.
The reason for that. And I think he doesn't want to frighten you. That's why the fridge door opened. But I do believe everything happens for a reason. I don't know.
If somebody told me I'd end up preaching at 2 churches last Sunday, I would be like, never, ever, 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 ever. But it's like you said, you know, you go from them early experiences, you go with it, but you always know he's with you, and that's the good thing.
You've got that light, haven't you? You've got it in you. I can see it in your eyes. You've got the no, but you can feel that he's looking.
But that's you too.
Yeah,
that's
but I do
you too.
say
You bring
people,
light to people's
it sounds
lives.
a bit like we're on one of those Christian shows now, saying hallelujah. I don't mean it like that, but I'm just saying, if you've got a faith in anything,
just carry on.
Just, you know, may your own God be with you.
Yeah.
Do you remember Dave Allen?
Yes.
When may your own God, you know, as long as you believe it, it can be in a spiritual thing. It doesn't have to be religious. But I think if you believe in a heavenly goodness, it actually helps you.
And it never
I think of the light. Never leaves me.
You. But the other thing, you know, once you had all this diagnosis and everything and all treatments and everything else, you know, how did you get back into work? Did you just decide, right, I'm throwing myself into this now? Or did you just ease yourself in a little bit gently?
I was a bit disappointed, actually, with that side of it, with the government here. You know, with I think financially I wasn't supported at all.
No.
And I'm only in my 50s and I needed money because I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
So I was a bit let down in that. If I'm honest, I managed to get some money from the Actors Benevolent Fund, which was really nice because Samantha Bond, who's in all the James Bond films, she was a friend and she got me some. So I must say thank you to the Actors Benevolent Fund. But be honest, actors during COVID and singers and dancers and yourselves, presenters and film people, like Kevin, we had no work and it just stopped. And instead of giving us 80% of what we got, so say you're on 25 grand, you get 20, they gave us 80% of what we paid in tax, which might be 5 grand, and just get 3 grand for the year. So be honest, I was disappointed with the government, if I'm honest. I've forgiven them and I've moved on and I've paid lots of tax anyway, and I had some savings because I think as an actor you never quite know where your next penny's coming from. And that must be a really
hard thing to actually deal with, is it because you've got the love of doing this work.
Oh, I loved it.
And
you
just can't wait to throw yourself into the next project, can you?
Well, that's why I did that panto with COVID. We're all 2 yards away. But then Boris, let's change it. And he changed the rules. They closed it all down. So we did 3 performances and we're off, you know. Yeah. But then the following year I was in Peterborough playing the Dame again for a lovely guy called Stuart Morrison, and that was really nice. So I did a panto in Peterborough, and this time we had to be tested. Yeah. And that was quite funny because the guy from Liverpool, he was a good-looking lad, like from Liverpool, playing the Prince. But he forgot to do his COVID thing.
No.
You know those COVID things?
Yes, I do remember it all very well.
Tony, I'll do it at the interval. He did it, and he was positive.
Oh, no.
He said, oh, my God, Tony, I think I've got the COVID. And he had to tell so they sent him off, and they got this 3'6" dancer. I know the lines. He comes running out. He's only about 13. He went on as the prince. So the second act, he'd lost about 3 foot. He married Cinderella at the end, but she was, he'd lost 3 feet because he'd got COVID. But things like that make it fun, you know. And then the following year, they gave him another job as the Scarecrow, which was nice because he hadn't got any work. So the acting profession is quite kind.
And I think that's what's lovely about these sort of acting charities as such, because we often hear, it's like you say, it's for RADA, it's for this, that and the other, and it's for this benevolent fund, and a lot of people can poo-poo it a little bit. They can like just ignore it as if
they think we're privileged.
This type of fundraising isn't important, but it is, isn't it?
Of course, because a lot of actors become famous, but they die quite poor. Honestly, a lot of actors, I saw this myself, that if I ever got £1, you know, I put 50p away every time because I saw it so often with Terry Thomas, the famous Terry Thomas. He died with no money. Richard O'Sullivan, who was in all those things with Paula, he's now in Brinsworth House being looked after. Mike Yarwood, he finished up with no money, yet they were big stars. And people think, I mean, I'm talking extreme now, they weren't completely, but jobbing actors who work in theatre, you know, they struggle. And if you don't get on the property ladder, which luckily I did, in my 30s, that saved me. But I've got other actor friends who are still paying rents, and it's you know, £1,500 a month,
and it's going
in
up
London,
and up
it's
and
going
up
up
and up.
And so I think that's where I've been clever. My father and mother said, look, get some money behind you. And Sue Townsend, who wrote Adrian Mole, gave me the part in the West End. She started me off, and Sue was totally unmaterialistic. I read at her funeral, and she changed my life in a lot of ways, as did Michael Croft and my drama teacher, Martin Broad. There's certain people in life that just lift you up.
Yeah.
And they're in a position to lift you up and give you a position. And when I was in Adrian Mole, I've been on £10 a week at drama school, then I went up to 500.
Wow.
And I thought, what's happened?
Made it.
Yeah, but I was living like I had £10 a week because that working class indoctrination. So I saved money then. And be honest, that money helped me.
What was it my granny would say? Look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves.
Exactly. But I think people should cut their cloth accordingly.
Well, I don't think you have with that coat. No, exactly. I think it's cost you a bit. So.
But I think that's where the government needs to be, teaching children in school about credit.
Yes.
Get off that moat and teach young kids about mortgages. Get them on the property ladder.
You're speaking my language.
I just give children a home. We all deserve a home and a job. And I don't like the way we're not looking after society.
No.
You know.
I know. But we will, hopefully, by good encouragement of you, we'll get there.
Yeah,
but now I want to go to my final section. I love this bit, and I can have real fun with you because,
come on then.
you know, it's my quickfire question round.
Yeah.
Okay? Who is your favourite actor?
Well, I've seen, I think Anthony Hopkins probably. Because of the Welsh. It was very good in that. I'm talking about Remains of the Day, things like that, Shadowlands.
He's a class actor.
He's a great act. And he's got a lovely soul. But I think his soul has been up and down, as he is an alcoholic at one point. Yeah. And his life has not been as straightforward. And he'd watched Richard Burton when he was younger.
Yes.
Or Elizabeth. And all that. He loved all that. So that is one of my favourite actors. I'm trying to think of my other ones. But, yeah.
Tom Cruise is mine.
Well, you like Tom Cruise, yeah. I think he's a nice chap as well, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He always comes over well on jumping about on the sofas, but he seems like a nice guy, and he'll always correct someone if they're rude. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
And I like that for him.
Yeah.
I think he's a nice chap. In fact, I was on a kids' programme.
Don't say you met him.
No, I want to tell you, this will make you laugh. It was called Lift Off with David Copperfield, and the girl in it was called Sally Dewhurst, who's now in Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas, but she was my girlfriend in the show. She had to kiss me in the show, and then she whispered to me, "Oh, by the way, I've just done Legend with Tom Cruise." And one night I went out with him and he kissed me. So I've been kissed by a girl who's kissed Tom Cruise.
Well, it's getting there, Tony,
got
isn't
there
it?
close.
It's getting there. It's a bit nearer than what I'll get.
Yeah.
What film is it that you could watch over and over again on repeat?
Well, funny enough, for all my comedy, I like Madison County.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a romantic film. I love the bit at the end when she's in the car and the lights go and you think Clint Eastwood's going to get in the car and live happily ever after. I think it's a romantic moment, and I love that with the lights. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The traffic lights. And I like Pretty Woman. That's a good film.
That is
It's a classic.
film.
And there's certain films I could watch over and over again. Midnight Express, the Alan Parker film. I like the prison stuff again. I like the prison films. With John Hurt.
Yeah.
Brilliant film. The Elephant Man, I love.
Oh, yeah, I
love that.
Very clever film.
My name is John Merrick. I'm not an animal. I love all that. And so funny enough, for all my comedy, even with songs, I'll sit and standing. I love sad songs.
Yeah.
Watching you go.
And that surprises me with your personality.
Yeah, I like a bit of pathos.
So you calm down every now and again.
I do,
Tony.
actually. When I'm on my own, I'm with friends all day, but I live on my own. So when I go home at night...
Is that decompressing then?
Definitely. I'll put the lights, I'll watch a bit of television.
I'm the same.
Silent Witness or whatever.
I do. I like to decompress.
To chill out.
Chill. Well, I think I've been watching New Life in the Sun a bit just lately, probably, hoping I can get abroad or something. Yeah. So I think that's for me. If you weren't an actor, what job do you think you'd be doing? I think you maybe alluded to this a bit earlier.
Yeah, well, I think it did say about being a vicar then, but I was 12 and in the church choir. You said yourself, you did it, Emily. You become like a family, don't you, when you're in church choir? And it's great. You had the Mr. Pike, who was like the bass. He'd clip your ear if you've been bread of heaven, bread feed us like no more. And that being a bit cheeky as a choir boy. Yeah. So I loved that. And
they did. They used to sit like me in front. And if I picked at my cassock and surplice, you'd get
That's it. That's it with the ruff. There was a girl called Nicola who sadly died last year, very young, Nicola Hasdell, only in her 50s. She was in the choir with me. And it was very middle class, the church. It was awfully nice, everyone spoke like that. And her parents said, why don't you come out on the boat? We got a lovely boat called Amos. So I was about 12, and I went out with Nicola, and I liked Nicola, held her hand. And that young love thing when you're young. And I climbed up a tree. So I climbed up this tree. We stopped the boat. I climbed up a tree, and the branch broke, and I fell into a cow pat covered in muck. And her mother, Joan, was awfully nice. Oh, darling, don't worry. Nicola's got some spare knickers and a dress. Put that on. So I put that. I was only 12. I've been a Panto Dave ever since, love. All those knickers and a dress. And they stayed friends with me. I was Nicola's wedding. She married Pete. She's got a little girl, Alex, who's my godchild. All my life, I've stayed friends with those church, so there's something in it. And the other day, Sue Dunkley, another girl I've not seen for 33 years, is happily married. We went for a coffee the other day near Oundle, had a lovely time, and talked about our old times in the church. And those friendships are still with me.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to me.
It's a proper true connection.
And they know they remember you being in Oliver. They go, I saw you in Adrian Mole, I saw you in Sing in the Rain. And it's great. These friends have supported me.
Yeah.
And I've supported them, obviously. But you never lose that friendship, No. And I've got the same with, my friend Sharon, I said, Sharon, who I've, and people like Sharon I've met, and I've got a friend called Janice who looks after me, and I've got all these lovely people that I love in my life,
Real
and
nice
they mean a lot. The friendships, to me, are more important. Like I said, I'll go and see my famous actors as well, but it was quite funny because the other week, Hugh Bonneville took me to a posh do. Downton Abbey. And Prince Edward came past, and he went, oh, hello, Hugh, how are you? And he's met me a few times. He went, don't tell me, it's Anthony, isn't it? I said, it is, yeah, and you are? Give my love to Sophie. So, I do have a good laugh. I meet all these famous people. And Mark Phillips, who's a QC now for Lewis Hamilton, he was a friend of mine, but he's now a big famous, but he's not changed.
No.
And I think when you know these people, when they're not famous, it's better.
Where we leave this now, Tony, because I
kind.
tell you something, it has been an absolute joy.
As for you,
I've loved your kindness. I've loved your the whole character. It's been a wonderful, wonderful podcast show. And if you're ever this way again, drop in.
Oh, definitely.
I think there's more of a part 2, part 3, all the way up to part 10, to be honest, Tony. We're ready to scratch the surface, and we could go on for hours.
Oh, thanks very much.
I just want to thank you so much for coming in and bringing some joy today.
God bless you, darling.
God bless you.
Thank you very much.